Once, the American dream was a beacon of hope, a promise that hard work would lead to a better life. Get ahead, own a home, retire comfortably. A promise that fueled generations until now. Today, that dream seems increasingly out of reach. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on the decline of the American dream. The American dream wasn't always complicated. After World War II, the GI Bill opened doors to home ownership, college, and steady jobs. Millions entered the middle class, and for a moment, it seemed like anyone could succeed. Hard work meant upward mobility. Education paid off. Owning a home wasn't just a goal, it was expected. But that foundation has eroded. Home ownership, once the cornerstone of the American dream, has become a distant aspiration for many.
We are living in the worst housing market in modern history. This home here is the American dream, and it's something that people like me have been working for a very long time. We would raise our family here, we would retire here, we would have our grandkids here. This would be the everything home for us. But then this happens. $800,000 for this house. And you may be thinking to yourself, well, that house is every bit worth $800,000. Let me show you. This home that sold not that long ago for $800,000 back in 2018 sold for $410,000, which means in 2025 with an $800,000 sale price, a 6% down payment, and a 6.5% rate gives you a payment of $5,300 a month. But in 2018 with a $410,000 sale price, 6% down, and a 4.5% rate, you have a payment of $2,200, which means that today you would need a household income of $330,000. But in 2018, you needed a household income of $135,000, which means that two 10-year teachers could have worked and got something like this, the American dream. That is the issue.
In 2025, only 28% of homes are affordable to the average American, a sharp decline from previous decades.
Prices that were once maybe under $200,000 for a house are now in the mid $400,000 to $600,000 range. Wages aren't going up. The wages are sticking to the same amount. You still have people out here who are getting paid less than $15 an hour. It's going to get to the point to where unless you're rich, you're not going to be able to afford in a house. You get somebody to leave you some type of trust fund. If you're coming out of this new generation, you're not going to be able to buy a house. Your children are not going to be able to purchase a home. This is not the same America that we grew up in to where people could achieve the American dream.
Rents are skyrocketing. Mortgages are unattainable, and even modest homes are out of reach. Young Americans feel trapped, paying more than half their income just to keep a roof over their heads. Once homeownership was a stepping stone to building generational wealth, now it feels like a lottery. Education was meant to be a ladder to success, but today it's a reason many feel like they have to put their lives on pause.
I'm 26 years old and I'm in $95,487.73 worth of debt. I feel like there is an elephant sitting on my chest. My first associate's degree I got from a community college and I didn't have to pay for because of the Pell Grant. Decided to go to a university and got my bachelor's degree, which is where I really started to rack up the debt. Then in the last 2 years, I decided to finish a nursing degree at a community college in the last 2 years, but that's where I started to rack up even more debt. I can handle the federal student loans, but when I tell you Sally Mae is bending me over and not in a way I like, it's actually insane. Sally Mae is genuinely evil and they prey on young students. It's really sad because I'm excited about starting my first nursing job next month, but at the same time, I know that all of the money I'm making is going to debt. I'm turning 27 this year and I wish I could be thinking about starting a family or getting married or buying a house, but really I can't think about anything but paying off this debt. The last thing I would want to do is bring a child into this world while I have debt hanging over my head. So it almost feels like my life is kind of on hold right now.
With overwhelming debts and sky-high interest rates, many young adults cannot afford to marry, start families, or own homes.
I am in $150,000 of student loan debt. I am a physician assistant. And I graduated PA school with $260,000 of debt. You know, I've been a PA going on 8 years now. So I have paid down my debt significantly from $260 to $150. The $150 still hanging over my head just seems nearly impossible and never ending to go away. I have a 4-month-old now, so I'm starting a family. I plan to have more kids. It's just like the burden of student loans. I can cry. I want to be able to spend time with my kid, raise my child, and not have to work countless hours and multiple jobs to pay my student loans off. because I want to spend time with my child.
Do those in esteemed careers like those in the healthcare sector deserve to be shackled in student loan debt to this extent? Debate in the comments. Over $1.7 trillion in student debt shackles graduates, delaying careers, families, and homeownership. The middle class, once the backbone of America, is shrinking fast. Over 75% of homes are now out of reach for middle-income buyers. Many people can no longer live in the towns they grew up in. Manufacturing jobs that fueled stability have vanished, replaced by gig work that pays little and offers no security. More people than ever are relying on multiple jobs and side hustles to carry them through each month.
I don't know who's out here living the American dream, but I can tell you one person who isn't, and that's me. I have 4 kids and I'm working 3 jobs and I'm still struggling. My full-time job, I'm a 911 dispatcher. My other 2 jobs, a waitress. The American dream should not be this hard. I should not have to be working my life away, being away from my kids. Sometimes I have to pick, am I going to pay my electric bill or am I going to buy groceries? Because my kids need to eat. This is not the American dream. I'm so tired of struggling. You know, so many people are going to work, working multiple jobs just to pay for a house to sleep in, just to put their head down at night. I know one person that's making 6 figures and they're still struggling. Why's it gotta be so hard?
A 2025 Bureau of Labor Statistics report indicates that 8.9 million Americans are working multiple jobs. A 2025 survey found that 27% of U.S. adults had a side hustle. Median household income barely keeps pace with inflation.
In 1970, the minimum wage was $1.40. That is $224 a month. However, the average apartment was only $108. So for 48% of your check, you could get an apartment. Fast forward to 2024, the federal minimum wage is $7.25, which is $1,160 a month, but the average apartment is $1,700. You cannot even afford an apartment today. In fact, if you make twice the minimum wage, you cannot afford an apartment in 2024. If you want to know what it was like growing up in 1970, the average apartment today should be $556. Millennials and Gen Zers, can you imagine how incredible life would be if rent was only $556? But let's look back to 1970 at the median household income. It was $8,700 and the median house price was just $17,000. So just 2 times the yearly salary. Fast forward to today, median household income, $85,000, median house, $400,000. That is 4.7 times. If you want to know what it was like in 1970, the average house today should be $170,000, which is fair, which would help everyone get into a house and the American dream would still be alive. So yes, things are always difficult for every generation, but it is significantly harder for millennials and Gen Zers. So boomers, let's stop beefing with each other and let's see how we can help the millennials and Gen Zers have a bright future.
Meanwhile, the cost of living rises, creating a precarious reality for millions. Hard work doesn't equal security anymore.
I can't believe we had to be adults in the most unaffordable time in history. Every other generation got starter homes. We got starter packs for depression. Our parents were buying houses for the price of what we pay in rent now. Meanwhile, we're out here financing phones like they're real estate. Rent is just a cover charge for existing. Like you're paying over $2,000 a month for the privilege of living in a box. We were told work hard and you'll have stability. Nah, we worked hard and we got, Spotify Premium, 3 streaming services and trauma. So, other generations got the American dream. We got the American receipt.
Boomers often see the dream as attainable with effort. Millennials and Gen Z see a rigged system.
The traditional American dream, which is like doing better than your parents and being able to provide a lot for your family, is dead, or at least it's changed. Because there are many of us that are well aware that we will never be able to make as much money as our parents did. And I think my mother, who is a boomer and benefited directly from the system in place, said it best when she once said, roughly, that the American dream has changed. It's become very apparent to everyone that in this economy, Gen Z, millennials, and some Gen Xers, many of us will not be able to do better than our parents. We won't even be able to do as well as our parents. And now the American dream has become just being able to get by, being able to maybe afford a house at some point, maybe have a kid or 2 if we're lucky enough to make that much money. Those of us who feel like we're constantly in fight or flight about bills and how we're gonna keep making it by, it's making us miserable and feel so hopeless. And yes, I could sit here all day and show you graphs of how inflation is going up, and while wages are going up, it's just not matching inflation. So it feels like we're all just constantly working and the goalpost just keeps getting moved further and further away from us. And yeah, it has a lot of us extremely stressed and worried and feel like just giving up because we're constantly running a race where the finish line is getting moved further out. And I think it's obvious that we're all just really exhausted by it now. I know I am. I'm constantly hitting a wall with all of this.
TikTok
TikToks, Reddit posts, and viral videos capture frustration, burnout, and anger. The social contract feels broken.
I am so tired of feeling helpless as a parent. My kids are grown adults. My oldest is 28, my youngest is 25. And I thought by teaching them what I learned, which is you work hard, you get a good job, you're going to get the things in life that you need. Worked for me. Why wouldn't it work for them? Because it doesn't. Because the world is changed. All right. I see them struggling. And before my generation comes at me, yes, I understand struggling is a part of life. We all struggled, but there's a difference between struggling and drowning. So we struggled and it was tough, but you know what? We made it. We knew there was a light at the end of the tunnel with our struggle. Kids today, no matter how much they struggle, they just get further and further down the water into the drowning point. When I was their age, I was making less than $10 an hour and I could afford to live on my own. Now you have to be making six-figure salary to get a decent, tiny little place to live. So what the fuck is going on and how do we help them as parents? I told my son, all you have to do is work hard, go to college or join the military like I did. He went to college, got his degree, got a full-time job. He moved back in with me right when he graduated from college because he said, hey, Mom, as soon as I get a job, which was within 2 weeks of him getting out of college, maybe take me 2 months and I'll save up enough money for me to move out. Okay, cool. It's been 10 months. He has saved almost every dime and still can't afford to live. Why are one-bedroom studio apartments almost $2,000 a month? I just don't get it. It's literally turning into the ultra wealthy and then everybody else is just poor. It seems like you can never get ahead. My daughter, I told her all you have to do because she wanted to buy her own house. My daughter worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a day to save up enough for this down payment. Finally got this house. She's paying double what I'm paying for my mortgage, but her loan was the same amount.
Simply working hard, long hours is no longer rewarded the same way it once was. Stability is no longer guaranteed.
As the dream fades, a new reality emerges, one where debt and uncertainty define the American experience. Many are feeling overworked, underpaid, drowning in debt, and judged for failing to keep up. Some argue we need a new definition of the American dream. The American dream is no longer a promise. It's a challenge. How do you define it today? Are we trapped in a dystopia or is there a way forward? Drop your thoughts in the comments, share your story, and if you want more deep dives into American culture, make sure to subscribe. As always, feel free to share topics you'd like to see us cover next in the comments.